Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name's CodenameSpades. Today we're going to switch it up a little bit. A good friend of mine, Devin Harris, is an elementary school teacher who's covering poetry this week. And she asked if I would break down the guidelines of a poetry slam, as well as how to make sure that poems come with that passionate delivery versus sounding like you're reading it off a piece of paper. I got you. So let's start off with the basics. As far as Poetry Slam goes, there are typically 3 rounds. Each round is timed 3 minutes, and then you get a 10-second grace period. Every second after the 10-second grace period, you begin to get deducted points until you get to 4 minutes, which then you're automatically disqualified. So be careful. Make sure you have a good-sized poem, but it's not too lengthy. Then you get scored off your poem. You get 5 judges. Each judge can score you a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 10. And decimals are also included in this. So someone can score about, let's see, out of those 5 scores, you can get an 8, 9.5, 10, 10, 10. Now, the high score gets dropped, and then the low score gets dropped, leaving you the 3 scores to average between. So in this case, remember this person had an 8, which is a low score, it gets dropped. They had 3 10s, so one of the 10s gets dropped. They had a 9.5, they had a 10, and they had a 10. So what this means is they're going to have an accumulative score of 10 and 10 makes 20, plus 9.5, which then brings you to 29.5. This is important because you definitely want to make sure that you are watching your decimals, because those points add up. From each round, because I told you there were 3, between each round, you lose about 2 to 3 poets whose scores didn't kind of get up there with everybody else's score. So you have to be careful about that as well, because like I said, those decimals do add up. Which brings us to the next point, right? What are you scored off of? You are scored off of the content. You are scored off of how you delivered it. And it's a performance at the end of the day. Whether you're reading it or you're actually recalling it from memory, it's all about how did you convey the message, right? And so some people may say, well, how do you sound like you're not reading? Easy. You got to be passionate about it. You got to be, just think about it. Even when someone's reading news, we've all had that exciting friend who's just like, yo, you got to listen to this. Like, da-da-da-da. And you promised they were right there, the way that they convey it. Then you got other people who read it and it's just like, why are you talking about this again? And so I'll give you an example with a poem of mine, right? Here's how the poem sounds if you read it. They say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. But has beauty ever lied to the eyes of the owner? Misconstrued images ribboned with fictitious exhibits, and this is what the blemish is. The mere appearance is transparent. So you don't see you, you see through you. What threw you was the amount of people who told you to do you. But when you do, you find yourself like man Savior's arms, just instead of nails, they... Who's listening to that? Be honest with yourself. Nobody. So let's turn it up a little bit. Mind you, there was a lack of eye contact. There were no hand gestures. Even if you're reading, and so you can't do the hand gestures like you would like, as long as you convey to me like you believe what you are saying, I am tuned in. Let me show you what I mean. Here's that poem with passion. You gotta get the head movement in there. Here's that movement. They say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. But has beauty ever lied to the eyes of the owner? Misconstrued images ribboned them with fictitious exhibits, and this is what the blemish is. You see, the mere appearance is transparent. So you don't see you, you see through you. What through you was the amount of people who told you to do you, but when you do, you find yourself like man Savior's arms, just instead of nails, you hear that difference? You feel it now. You see the hand gestures. Not only that, but the eye contact, because that's important to a lot of people. And sometimes you're in a crowd full of, who knows how many people. So it's not like you can make eye contact with everybody. But it shows a confidence. Even if you're talking about a poem that's more on the sad or depressing tip, that eye contact really communicates something different when you make that with an individual. Even if it's not with everybody, just a few select people. You'll be amazed at what things like that do. You'll be amazed at emphasizing certain words, what that does. Because naturally, the brain, if someone's talking, especially for a lengthy amount of time, the shoulders begin to slouch, you get a little comfortable, you do this, trying to keep yourself up, things of that nature. But when you're talking, and you're talking like this, and you're mixing that in with some periods of da 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 but da 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 da, it's a refocus. You re-grab the attention. So remember that as you're writing your poem, because those are the things that you get scored on. These judges may not always know you. Sometimes they're professionals who've been doing this all their life, and then you have the people who just walked in off the street and said, "Hey, I've never heard poetry. What is that?" All of these can be your judges, but remember one key thing: it's not about the judge, and it's not about the score. It's about that you speak your truth before it is about any of that. Did you convey the message that you wanted to convey? Did you speak what was on your heart? Because if you're not feeling what you're presenting, you can't expect anyone that you're presenting to feel it. You have to be your first. You have to be your first ear, your first audience, the whole nine. And remember, I cannot express this enough. Have fun. It is a competition, but at the end of the day, what's competition if you don't have fun with it? My name's CodenameSpades. That is the basic outline of a poetry slam and also performing in a poetry slam. Have fun, you slammers in training and you slammers who may have been doing this for a while. Enjoy yourself. CodenameSpades out.